welcome on. It's good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you guys too.
So we have right now we're working on I guess we're doing a bunch of interviews of guests we had on early in the show because we're hitting our 100th episode this coming week.
Congrats.
Thank you. So we thought, we'd reach out, we'd get a hold of you, hopefully have you on. Thank you for doing this. We appreciate it. I guess, let's hop right into the album and the recording process and everything. How's it going? Where are you at right now?
It's been a pretty fun process, like definitely a lot longer than I thought it would be. But yeah, we started in January and we just wrapped up the final mix like last week.
Oh, wow.
Congrats.
Thank you.
You must be hyped.
Yeah, it's so weird doing the first one because it's like very, it takes like some of these songs are 4 or 5 years old. So it's been so long. Right. And now it's to have it all together. Like, you hope you do as hard, as good a job as you can, hope it's like, you hope it's good enough and stuff. But yeah, it's a very crazy process, but it's finally finished and we're getting it mastered like tomorrow. So
nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a good time to have a chat.
Like trying to
just perfect.
Just cut it off at some point. Cause if you've been mixing since I guess, I don't know how long have you been mixing since January?
It's so funny. The first 2 weeks were so productive and we set everything up. We did a bunch of it live off the floor. And then like those first 2 weeks, we got so much done. And then as time goes on, you kind of go to the studio a little less. And then it's like you're working on such minute shit after a while.
Right.
I swear on this?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Yeah. It just ends up like getting in the weeds with all this like stuff that doesn't really, like no one's ever going to notice. But you do it anyway. And then eventually you just have to call it at some point. Be like, okay.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, we were just talking about in actually one of the previous interviews we were doing how like you reach a point in a song where you kind of have to decide whether or not you are just going to keep throwing stuff at it and see, if something sticks, or if you're like, you know what, it's good as it is. We're just going to send it and ship it and like do it as it is now currently. Have you like found yourself dealing with that or struggling with, I guess, choosing between keeping, the process of mixing going until it's, the perfect song, or have you like kind of not had those battles yet with those songs?
We actually, I feel pretty lucky because we got the producer I was working with for this is very old school, likes to do everything live off the floor if he can.
Okay.
That's his whole process where like, we set up the drums and we cut a lot of the songs. Probably 50% of them are like drums, bass, both our guitars, and my vocals are like from the day on the floor.
Oh, wow.
So it was to a click. So we still did comping with some of the vocals, but there's like, I'd say like 5 of the 10 songs are like live vocals from the session cut with the drums, which is really cool.
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
It kind of, it protects you from that a little bit. Cause if you redo the vocals, you can get them more perfect, but they don't have that same like vibe.
Right.
I hate that word, but they don't have that.
I know what you mean though. There's like a certain energy like about, people know like it's a bit more authentic. I think when you get like a live take.
Yeah. And even if there's little mistakes and stuff and you could technically do it better, it just allows you to kind of be like, okay, that is what it is. And that's how it sounded on the day. So that's how we're going to leave it. And then all the overdubs and stuff, there's a lot of, little things you can get into, but at least the bricks of the song, you can kind of sign off on the day and be like, okay, that's good. So it helps me because I'm I think if we would have done it the more modern way, I probably would have taken way too long. So because I'm very like precise with that stuff. So
I guess that's kind of cool. Just like you have the session and then you just go and you just gotta like go with what happens. That's cool. I like that a lot.
Were you working on a time? I mean, it sounds like you did that as like a stylistic choice, right? You wanted, and that's what the producer wanted. Did you feel like you were on a time crunch or anything, or did it feel natural, like he got in, got out, or?
I feel really lucky. I found a guy. His name's Ross Hayes Citrulo, and I feel really lucky because we got a grant, like a government grant for.
Whoa!
Like someone's coming in. Oh, we're good. 1 second. What's up, Christian? Yeah, we got this factor grant thing for this record, which is great.
Sorry.
See if that's my bass player for the rehearsal tonight.
Nice.
Yeah, so we're very lucky. Like we wouldn't have been able to do it this way otherwise, but we basically got to go in and like do the record without any sort of time constraint, which is nice. And that's on the same. Like, it's also nice to have a time constraint sometimes because it keeps you focused. And we did a lot of sort of fucking around and like going out for pints and whatever. But it's like that's also part of it. So so it was good.
You gotta have fun with it.
That's all.
But then we also at the end of the process there was definitely like a bit of a time crunch. Like we're supposed to have the record out for fall to be in line with the grant. So we did have to kind of expedite it at a certain point. But the first few weeks were just fun, which is nice.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's what it should be. It should be like you love music for a reason, you know?
Yeah.
How'd you end up getting a grant? That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Dude, it's the Canadian government's very generous with that stuff.
Right.
It's a very hard grant to get still, but there's lots of money available for artists, which is nice. And it it's like recording and tour support and all that stuff.
Right.
So typically you get someone to like write the grant for you. And I tried a couple times, and the last time we finally got it, which is pretty sweet. But yeah, we're pretty lucky for that, obviously.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so it helps with touring. So you are doing a lot of shows. I feel like, do you guys have like any big shows coming up, but also like, are you doing a release show for the album?
Yeah. So all that's in the works right now. Our next big show, like our big headliner or co-headliner one, we're doing this place called the El Macombo in Toronto.
Yeah.
I saw that. That's like a really legendary venue. Like everybody's played there, right?
Yeah, it's pretty sick. It shut down for a while a couple of years ago, and then there's a guy on I think on Shark Tank or Dragon's Den or something. He like bought the place and pumped like 30 million into it. And
wow.
Okay.
Damn.
So it's pretty wild. Like I've been there once. I've never played there, but it's like so nice. It's like all modern, beautiful lights, and there's like a video and recording studio in it, so you can just record your set and like get that.
Oh, that's so cool.
Sick.
That's awesome.
Yeah. There's like 2 independent recording isolation rooms, so you can get like live mixes and live broadcasts and stuff. It's very cool.
That's so smart, cool. Dude. That's great for content too. I feel like I think about that all the time. Where I'm like, how can I get the most out of what I'm doing right now? You know?
Yeah.
And that's and it's always it's nicer if the venue just does that, because it's a little bit, you got to set the camera and make sure the guy from the sound guy is like giving you the audio, and you got to do that all and then play on top of that. So it's kind of nice if they just handle it for you.
Yeah, it's one less thing on your plate. It's one thing that you can like have, a little bit of help with. Because again, when you're performing, your focus should be performing. You don't want to have to be thinking of all the other things that you have to do to then promote after the performance. But so that's awesome that the venue does it. That's so cool. I rarely hear about venues doing that.
That sounds like a nice place.
They charge an arm and a leg for it though, but
I bet. Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah, it's a really sick venue. That'll be fun. And then release shows in the fall. I think we're looking at like a mid-fall sort of release for the record.
Okay.
So none of that's been announced yet, but we're working away at it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I guess what should we be expecting for the album? I guess what takeaways should we be looking for as listeners?
Yeah, is it something like based on, I mean, it's been a hot sec since your last release. Like, are we pushing the boundaries of what like you've done before? What's the vibe?
It is. It's definitely got a little. I feel like when I did the last interview with you guys, I was very much in like the John Mayer world, pop, rock, whatever you want to call it. I've had a pretty intentional I veered away from that quite a bit. I'm also just hanging out with a lot more just like guys in rock bands, and that's kind of it's basically the old tunes on the record that we wrote a few years ago have that feel, that old sort of Mayer or singer-songwriter thing.
Right.
Which I intentionally tried to kind of make sound like Neil Young, a lot of Neil Young influence on this thing. So that sort of sound is there, but then there's a lot of sort of like kind of harder rock stuff. Been listening to a lot of like Sam Fender and a lot of rock bands from the UK right now. So there's a lot of that influence in there as well.
Nice. That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah. These are all songs like we haven't heard before? All 10 of them are like new?
Yeah, it's they've all been like in the live set, and I've put stuff out on Instagram here and there, but yeah, they're all pretty much brand new.
Okay.
Do you have an idea of like, I know it's always weird to play songs live, I think, before you release them, because like, I found that like there can be a discrepancy between what people react to live and what they react to like with a recorded version.
Mm-hmm.
But it sounds like you're doing like recording things live. Do you think it's going to be line up a bit better, or like are there songs that you're like, oh, this is great because it's recorded, or compared to a live thing?
That's a great question. There's it's hit or miss. I feel like some of the acoustic cuts they're tougher to translate live.
Yeah.
But I know those are the ones that people, if we're lucky, like people are gonna like and then want to hear.
Right.
And those ones are easier to do when people know them. But like a heavy ass rock song's kind of the way we go about it, at least. Like you want to, even if someone's never heard it, you want it to be like to kick ass.
Yeah.
So
right.
And the sets that we've been putting together lately are like they're mostly just the heavy cuts for whatever reason. I love doing the acoustic stuff, but if you're opening for someone, you got 30, 40 minutes, like just fucking give them the goods and get out. So like that's like 8 of the 10 songs are pretty heavy, and that's the stuff that we focus on live. So that's that's kind of tough. You know, we've been playing these for a while, and like no one actually knows the tunes yet. So we're trying to trying to make them come across well to people who've never heard them. So it's tough.
Yeah, that's a hard line to walk, because I know like Lucas has an album coming out soon too, and his is like they've been playing songs from it live a lot, and I know them now because I've gone to all the shows, but like it's hard to like get them across when you don't know it, because then it's noticeable when you play a song that the audience do know, like maybe an old release, and you're like, okay, everybody's like listening to it, but it's getting over the hump of the new song that hasn't been out yet that can be difficult.
Dude, I had this like the most disheartening thing happen recently. You know, I take it with a grain of salt because like you're gonna have things like this happen. But this industry guy that I had a connection with somehow, some big wig LA dude was like listening to a bunch of the stuff, which was awesome. Yeah, and then it was on our SoundCloud, and I had the new record linked, secret link, sent it to him. He listened to it, and then I guess one of our old cuts from like 4 years ago was next in line, so he listened to that. And he's like, "What's that song? That's a big." It was Julia. It's like 4 years old, and he's like, "That's a big song. That's that one. I think I could work with that one." I was like, "Fuck's sakes!"
Oh, dude, no, that's not what you want to hear.
He's like, "You should lead with that one." I was like,
man, that's are you sure?
Maybe.
I was like, maybe we should do the.
Let's focus. Shift now. Don't even worry about that one. Let's look at the other ones.
Oh man,
whatever, man.
Oh my god. Wow. But
I think you're not going to please everyone. Like,
no. Well, yeah, of course.
Of course not.
And that song's like a pop song, and I understand why guy like. Of course, he's gonna like that one. This record's pretty. You know, we did it live off the floor. It's pretty raw, so I understand. You know, it's not got like as much radio appeal, maybe, but it's definitely more what we like right now. So,
that's huge. I mean, it's your album. You know, like it's your do whatever you want. Put your heart in it.
Yeah, it's that's the thing. If people like it, that's great. But it's I definitely had like some of the most fun experiences of my life in the last couple months with my band, and like we moved to the city for a little bit and got a place and like all this cool shit I never thought I'd be able to do. So it's enough for me, honestly.
That's awesome.
Dude,
it's been very
you guys
cool.
are in Toronto, right?
Yep.
Wow,
that's awesome,
dude. That's amazing. Because I know that I was listening to your music a lot, like back when we first interviewed you, and I was like really enjoying it. But I'm really excited for this like shift in the different like new styles you're going for, and you know, more of the harder rock stuff. And I'm just excited to hear it all. I think it's going to be really great, and I think that it's going to translate like your old style of writing translating this way. I think it's going to be great. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm hyped.
Yeah, I appreciate you boys supporting for so long. Honestly, I've been like following along with what you guys are doing, and like just.
Oh, thanks, man.
Oh, thank you.
When you guys said that you got 100, you said you got 100,000 subscribers.
Oh yeah,
yeah, that's good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good
That was pretty
good
fun.
grab for get some people. We got some subscribers from it. It was actually pretty funny.
Which was nice. People got on board.
No, dude, I love what you guys are doing, man. It's so
Thank
funny.
you.
I listen to so many like I listen to more podcasts than music recently, and
Really?
you guys just got that thing,
Oh,
like
appreciate
that just natural ability, man. It's great.
Oh, thanks.
Dude, thank you. Well,
Means a
so
lot.
we sadly we don't have a ton of time because we're doing a bunch of different interviews, but we would love to have you back on. Like when the album drops, definitely let's come back on. We'll do a full like length episode.
Thank you.
We'll talk. We'll dive deep. We'll do
Go
an
to each
analysis
track
of it.
or
It'd be
something.
great. I would love to do that. But so like one last question for you, since it's our 100th episode, we're asking everybody what their favorite 100 thing is. For example, mine is a 100-degree chair, which means it's not a 90-degree. So I'm not straight up. I'm a little bit relaxed. I'm comfortable, but I can still do work, right? I can still do things, but I'm comfortable. So what would be your 100? Someone said the 100 Pokemon cards that they have from when they were a kid. It could be like a candy bar, like the 100 grand bar. So what is yours?
There's a real Canadian one for you. This is
yes, perfect.
Great.
It's a song called "The 100th Meridian" by the Tragically Hip.
Oh,
I don't know.
No
it.
one-
I don't know it.
You wouldn't. No one. This band this band's like huge in Canada. The singer just passed away a couple years ago, but like the biggest band in Canada.
Oh my
Any
God.
Canadian knows every lyric to every song, and they got a great song called "The 100th Meridian."
100th
And you guys should. The Tragically Hip. They're very good.
Tragically-
I'm
They
gonna look
more.
them up immediately after this. And I'm
This
gonna
is
listen.
going to be
So-
on it. This will be on our playlist for our party.
Yeah.
That's
You'd
great.
be like one of very few Americans to listen. But the
I like
100th Meridian, but the Tragically Hip.
That's a great answer.
Tragically Hip.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Gavin, for coming on. We
Oh,
really
thank you so
appreciate
much.
it.
Pleasure, guys.
Best of luck
Yeah.
with everything. And we're excited to hear the album. Again, when it comes out, I'll reach out and we'll set up a time. We'll do another video with you.
I would really appreciate that. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, no problem.
of
All
course.
right, man.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you later.
Peace out, man.
See you guys.
See